the Hall of Fame induction ceremony. And how wonderful was it? Your boy Ichiballs stole the show. And it's amazing. He did the whole thing in English. I didn't think he even spoke English.
It was wonderful. Billy Wagner, congratulations. CC Sabathia, congratulations. Dave Parker, congratulations. And, oh my God, who am I missing? With the glasses.
Oh my God, Dick Allen.
Dick Allen, congratulations. Good speeches, fine speeches, the kind of standard, hey, thank you very much speeches. Here's a little story about my past, my history, about my dad, or about my ex-husband, or not ex-husband, but my husband who passed. Great stories, wonderful stuff. Ichi stole the show. Ichiro did it, and doing it almost all in English was wonderful. I loved it. I love the little jokes in there. I'm surprised that it wasn't a little bit more humorous. I guarantee you he toned it down from what he wanted to do. I love the joke with the writer that didn't vote him in. I loved it. That was like perfectly timed joke. I'm amazed there wasn't a joke about Griffey and just poking more fun at Griffey on there. And but a great job by Ichiro, and congratulations, obviously, to Billy Wagner, our friend, a friend of the show, CC Sabathia, ex-teammate, and Ichiro.
Still freaks me out, though, that CC Sabathia was a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah, it's interesting. What it does, it immediately opens the door for a whole bunch of other guys. And it's an absolute joke and a shame that Curt Schilling's not in when you compare those numbers, and then you compare like postseason and what they did, and how Curt Schilling doesn't have a like Cy Young's. I get it, but like he was literally incredible. If it wasn't just for another guy who had like one of the best seasons ever in Randy Johnson and a teammate, he would have had easily Cy Young's. But
what's crazier to me,
Greinke and all those guys, or Cole Hamels, and you're going to have a whole nother line of guys that you're like, old baseball standards wouldn't be Hall of Famers, and now they're going to be.
But here's the one that shocked me the most, though, is CC first ballot Hall of Fame, Billy Wagner 10th ballot. I think Billy was a little more important at his position than CC was at his.
I think so. Well, and I think over the long term, Billy Wagner's every single year was one of the best. Every year, he didn't have this little run at times. Yeah. He was always the best, and he reinvented the position with strikeouts. Then there's nobody else that, like Mariano, Trevor, were obviously are like the echelon of relievers, along with Goose Gossage, right? Like upper echelon, like Lee Smith. But the way he did it and reinvented it with strikeouts, he changed the game. Like Major League Baseball is different because Billy Wagner played the game, and closing it will never be the same because of Billy Wagner. Nobody can do what Mariano did. Nobody can do what Trevor did. But Billy Wagner came in and everyone went, oh, that's a new way to do it. And a whole new age of closers came in because of that. And so he did not get enough love.
Who was the old Pittsburgh Pirates closer, and then he was with the Braves and the Giants? We had him on our show years ago. I can't remember his name right now. But we were talking. Really? I'm sorry?
Jason Grilli?
No, it wasn't Grilli. His name will come to me at some point. But we were talking about how fickle closers are, and they can have one great year, one bad year.
Yeah.
Billy never had that. He was electric each and every year. He was still throwing 100 the year he retired.
Yes, and that's a crazy thing. And he had basically an injury that kind of ended him at the end. And Mark Melancon?
Yes, Mark Melancon.
Mark Melancon.
Thinking about a guy like Melancon who had some really great years. Craptastic years, and he stayed in the game for a long time, and that's what you expect from most relievers, and that's why they are not more in the Hall of Fame. There are not more of them in the Hall of Fame. But we got a guy like Billy, who day one to last day was dominant as F. How did they wait 10 years on him?
Because he wasn't a New York Yankee. He wasn't a New York Met long enough. He was a guy that a lot of people didn't think about, because you've got Mariano just dominating the game of baseball. So a lot of guys just kind of like, especially on the reliever market, a lot of guys just got overlooked because we got to watch the greatest of all time, maybe in any position, for their dominance of that position play. And so that was the standard. So I'm like, okay, well, he's nowhere near Mariano. Well, maybe on save side, but like to get 3 outs, I don't know. Like the dude had a 2.3 career ERA in a time when he didn't have a 2 ERA. And the guy struck out everybody as a reliever. And it's just, it's insane. The guy had 105 strikeouts one year as a closer. You know, there's things that he did that were just phenomenal. He just didn't get enough credit because you're looking over there and you're seeing Mariano with however many saves, and he's only got 422, you know?
Well, regardless, it was a really great Hall of Fame weekend. I loved watching the speeches, and now I am even more excited about going to Seattle next week and meeting Ichiro because I know I can actually communicate with him. And I'm practicing how to say thank you very much in Japanese. Arigato gozaimashita.
There you go.
So that way, when I meet him, I can say that. Now, before we go, I have a very special announcement to make. I've said it on the show many a times. We have discussed my pitching prowess. However, I have decided to finally hang up the cleats. This past weekend, we had a softball game. We got knocked out. I gave my glove away. I was ready to give my shoes away. Nobody else wore my size. I officially games of my life. I'd like to discuss it with you, what ended up happening, and I'd like to know if I am a giant douchebag or I'm a good teammate. Odds are I'm probably a giant douchebag, but I will tell you from the very beginning that I am kind of one of those guys that if I'm on the mound that day, leave me alone. I need to, like, I pull a Michael Jordan. I make up stuff in my head so I can get angry because that's how I pitch. So let me explain what happened, and you tell me if I'm a douche or not. Game one, we were down 2-0. Keep in mind, this is softball. Game one, we were down 2-0. We ended up tying it 2-2. In the top of the seventh, we were playing in a field that was sort of like Fenway with a really short left field fence, really high, but short. I ended up giving up a double in the bottom of the seventh. Guy came home. That's it. We lost 3-2. Pitched brilliantly that day, especially in softball. We give up 3 runs. And I tell my team all the time, you give me 7 runs, odds are 99% of the time you'll win. Game 2, gave up 2 runs in the first inning. I saw the umpires started to squeeze me. Bad, because we switched umpires after the first game. There's always 2 of them. Game 1, it's one guy behind the plate. Game 2, the other guy goes behind the plate. I give up 2 runs. He's squeezing me. Second inning, all hell breaks loose. He's not giving me a strike call. Inside, outside, up, down. I mean, the other team is laughing because I'm throwing strikes right down the middle of the plate. I'm pitching to them like you used to pitch to Vlad. Put it right down the middle of the plate. And he's calling them balls. Then my outfield starts making bad plays. All of a sudden, it's 10-0. Well, I'm getting pissed because this umpire at one point calls a guy out at home, then says safe, then calls out again, and I just go absolutely nuts. I throw the ball. I tell him I went nuts, right? But here's my thinking. I'm trying to get tossed from the game at this point. We lost game 1. We're down 10-0 in game 2. So the way I figure, why not try to get tossed? I might get my team, to rally a little bit. They're going to be thinking, okay, you know what? We're all pissed off. James is out of the game. Maybe they rally. If they don't, we're out of the playoffs anyway. But if we rally, then I can come back for game 3 because I only got tossed out of game 2. I'm telling this umpire that he needs cataract surgery, that he's too old to do this, that he needs to retire. At one point, I got so pissed off, I told my catcher, I'm going to throw a fastball right towards his head. You put your glove up like you're going to catch it, but then lose it. Let him hit him in the head. Unfortunately, the guy moved out of the way, and I couldn't hit him in the head. Am I a douche for trying to get thrown out?
Yes.
Okay.
And that was your retirement? That was the last game?
Yeah, that was my last game I'm ever going to play. Because I figured, let me try to get back game 3. If there was a game 3.
There's probably something in the rules that if you get thrown out, you don't get to play the next game or something. It probably wouldn't have worked out in your favor. Or you would have just pissed the umpires off so much, they would have hated you and called everything a ball the next game.
Well,
it doesn't work.
The last 5 innings, The last 5 innings, I didn't give up a run.
Yes. And you guys lost.
And we lost. But no, it wasn't worth a try.
No.
All right. So I'm a douche.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
But it's really funny, though, because at one point, I mean, I was steamed. I mean, really steamed. Then at one point, Tommy, my buddy Tommy, who, is playing first base, he comes up to me. I'm like, get your fat ass off of my mound. He got so pissed. It was great.
So when is this retirement going to unretire? Next year?
I'm not. I'm never pitching again. I am officially done. Are you ever pitching again?
No.
Okay.
But I have a broken hip.
Okay. Well, my arm feels like there's a cement mixer in there. When I see you next week, I want you to put your arm on my shoulder and just feel all the cracking that goes on in there. It's scary. Yeah, it's pretty bad. But look, at the end of the day, I decided that I'll say this without being egotistical. I never pitched better in my life. At 45, I could do anything that I wanted, and I could figure out what I wanted to do. And I could literally write a book right now on how to pitch modified softball. I really believe that I'm that good at this game. I can't do that in golf, and I just want to get there in golf where I can shot.
There you go. I don't mind. That's not bad.
Yeah, so that's my point. I retired from softball to play golf, which most guys do. I feel like John Smoltz.
Perfect.
Yeah. And with that being said, I hope you all enjoyed the wonderful show that we brought to you today, talking about all the trades. If you're in the Seattle area next week for Ichiro's jersey retirement, look for David's bald head or my beautiful hair, and we will say hello. With that being said, I'm James. He's Aards. Talk to you next week. Bye-bye.